Hello again, everyone. I'm Charles Gross.
And I'm Leslie Hogan Blake. Welcome to Two on the Aisle. Today we're going to talk about a brand new show down at the Audible Theater at the Minetto Lane. It's a two-character play called Mexodus. And I was a teacher for more years than I care to remember. And I taught all grades. And I thought I knew everything about the Civil War, and I didn't. Because I only knew about the exodus of Black slaves and the Underground Railroad going north. I did not know about the Underground Railroad going south, that is to say, south of the border. That's what this play is about. And it's by two incredibly talented young men named Brian Tejada and Nigel D. Robinson.
It's very cleverly done. The effects, and you're wondering, well, were they playing in the first place? Well, yes, they were. And they tell us at the beginning of the show that everything we see begins on stage and is going to be done live. It may eventually, they may
Well, that's
record.
what I was talking about. The
Right.
sound design is
Right.
incredible. It's live looping for 90 minutes. Yes. The story itself is very timely. I mean, but given what's going on now with the border, I can't think of a show that's more the idea of immigration and migration at a time when it's against the law now to do so. Again, as it was in 1860. This went on from 1828 to 1865, this migration back and forth. And the two characters, one is a Mexican war medic who's living just across the Rio Grande, and the other is a slave who's run away after killing his master because he was beating him to death, and it was self-defense.
And as you point out, instead of going north, he goes south of the border. He almost drowns. He is rescued by a local farmer. This is a man who does not own the land that he works, but he works it. Nurses the man back to health. They become friends. Temporary.
Well, it's not even if they're wary. They become compatriots, whether they're friends. Is something that grows very slowly, very, very slowly. And even then, they don't hold hands and sing Kumbaya. It isn't that kind of friendship.
But it is a friendship.
Yes.
Because the farmer, people are looking for this guy, and
yes.
the farmer helps him.
Yes, he does, at his own peril.
Yes. So I think that's sort of a friendship or something very close.
I agree. I wasn't trying to say that he wasn't. By the way, the set, which is really incredible, is by a guy named Rick Rackelson. And it's got a little bit of everything. The instruments are sort of there, but you don't notice them until they're needed. And then suddenly there's a piano and a keyboard and a beatbox and
I noticed that a lot right off. It's very abstractly done. In fact, at first it was a little too abstract for me because I was waiting for the plot to come, and they were, telling us, they were trying to give us some background and stuff, but I didn't start getting into it until we got into the slave story. And he finds himself in a Joseph situation where the master's wife is coming on to him. He is turning down her advances. She tells her husband, oh, he's trying to rape me. The fight ensues, the murder ensues, killing perhaps ensues, and our story begins. You have Brian Quijada, wonderful, wonderful costume with the hat and the vest and the pants. And he can get a rise out of the audience just by repeating this line, one goat each. I don't know how he does it, but somehow when he said it, it just got a roll, or ending the song on this low note. And I should say there was a woman and a group of her friends. She's celebrating her birthday, so they were all revved up. And this isn't a show that encourages the audience. If you feel like shouting, if you feel like cheering, if you feel like dancing, go for it. And they did.
This is hip hop. It's a show. I mean, there's a ballad or two. There's other kinds of music, but basically it's hip hop. And you immediately think of Hamilton, and then you have to stop because Hamilton was about a bunch of Black and brown actors playing white founding fathers. This is Black and brown actors playing black and brown people.
Right.
And it's
Also,
it's a whole different ballgame. Here are two lines that I think are magnificent. Liberation in this nation is still being confronted when black and brown bodies continue to be hunted. That's one line. That's a song. I'm not even going to try to do it as a rap because I would absolutely embarrass myself and the writers. The second one is that they're telling a story of the Underground Railroad that led south, a story that we have to pass down by word of mouth, because it's not in any history book I've ever read. There is a book about the Underground Railroad going south, but it's a whole book on its own. It's not in a history book.
It's certainly a history lesson. I never knew that existed either. So it was a fascinating revelation.
By the way, it was very interesting. While we were going in, some woman came up without a ticket, walked to the box office, got a $38 ticket. So, this is New York where you can't go to see anything. And here's one of the best things I've seen, certainly this season, but it's a young season. But nonetheless, it's one of the best things I've seen in a couple of years. I think.
I admired the innovativeness,
yes.
But as a package, it did not come together for me the way it did for you.
Oh, it definitely did for me. Definitely did for me. And the two actors are so gifted. They're so likable, and yet they can play different colors. No pun intended. They have a really good sense of themselves as their artistic gifts. They're funny. They're serious.
They're good at what they do. They are a team. And since
it's been done across the country, it was done at Berkeley Rep.
Since this is audible, there will be a recording of it, an audio recording.
I do think that the music itself is very good. I really do. And I think it will play. I mean, hip hop is not my form of music necessarily, nor yours, I know. But I love it.
There is more to it than that.
What?
As you pointed out. Your conclusion.
Oh, I think this deserves a 5. I think it's innovative and clever and something new, and I really just and good writing, good acting. What more do I want? Good set, good design. I was happy.
I was not. It's a decent story. I was not overly impressed with the writing. The score was good, but didn't knock me out of my seat the way it did the people who were sitting behind us. I admire the innovation. I admire the way they approached it, but I'm only going to give it 3.5, which is not bad.
Oh, well, by the way, it wasn't just the people behind us. It was the people in front of us and the people beside us. Everybody was enjoying it, Charlie. There was such a wave of appreciation.
So make sure that you go when somebody is celebrating their birthday and try to get tickets at the last minute.
Absolutely.
That is our show for today. When you go to the theater, look for Leslie and me, us too.
On the aisle.
So today we're going to guide you through our story from the past.
Of the Underground Railroad that led south.
A story we'll pass down by word of mouth. Oh, so here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So this is the scenario.
You see, in 1821, Mexico won independence from the colonizers of Spain, whose language they injected into indigenous tribes, and with them they brought all types of European investing to testing their new model of civilization onto a nation that didn't need it. But 300 years later, the Spaniards were defeated. Sound familiar? In 1821, Mexico celebrated their big victory.
In 1829, Mexico said, good riddance to slavery.
But on the other side of the divide, Mexico's neighbor to the north was a little far behind. Cause life and liberty was vital to the cause, but war gave them pause, was major financial loss. That anytime money,